Hey friends, it's Micah, and this is the Homestead Bandwagon Creepy Old Cellar Edition. So we're in the Bandwagon Homestead Cellar right now. We've been doing a lot of cleaning up and changing things around and tearing stuff out. There was an old pellet stove in here that I pulled out. We're getting ready to put in a big water treatment system down in here. I've got old stuff in here. Look at this thing. This is an old wood burner that used to heat the house. It's made of iron. I don't even know how we're gonna get it out of here. The thing's so heavy, I can't lift it. It'd take like 5 people to do it. So it might just live down here for the rest of its life. But anyway, this is a cellar that my grandpa dug out and poured all this concrete himself. You know, it never had a sump in it, so you can kind of see down here. Once again, we'll look at the big wood burner. There's a high water mark in here. And so when we moved in here, we had an appraiser come through and they said, man, you gotta take care of that. So putting in a sump to drain the water, you know, during the rainy season, really important. So we're working on doing that back in the corner over here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a sump hole. So we're getting that installed. And then what you can see over here, these big orange guys, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So this cellar, again, hand dug, really nice, actually really well done, but there's these ceiling joists up here, and 2x6 ceiling joists. They're in fantastic shape, spaced a little closer than necessary, which is great. This house is built really, really strong. But we have an issue, whereas when we're up above here, this is where our living room is above here, and the dog comes trip-trapping across the floor, I could feel the floor kind of dancing, and that really worries me because where he was running or walking across was also where our fireplace is. So that tells me, you know, there's a lot of weight there with a big masonry fireplace and a giant iron fire insert. So it tells me that the floor's got some movement. So I came down here to see what was going on, and lo and behold, I think I found myself the problem. So I'll show you what the problem is here. Let's go over here a little bit. Okay, so here's the brickwork for the chimney. And we're gonna move the camera, and we're gonna look up. All right, so we're looking up underneath the floor, and what do we have here? We have the brickwork for the chimney, and this general area here, floor joists coming across from the start of the cellar, which is that way, over to here, and here comes the joist and the back walls here, but these joists do not connect with the back wall. So they got this guy here, this doubled up, I guess this is a joist 2. I don't know, I'm not a builder. And this just runs from there over to there. So we'll show you how this works. So we've got a bunch of floor joists running under the house. And see, there's a ledger over here that they rest on, right? Well, that works out really great until we get to where they put in the chimney. And then this guy just gets attached here with nails, and there's gaps here. And so that goes all the way across. Here's another attachment point where there's a gap. So if you look at this, see if we can get you a good angle so you can see. So if you look at this, the floor is floating. The floor is floating here. So the joist comes over, it attaches here, and then it floats side to side. So there's no ledger supporting these joists. I guess that's an okay way to do it, but you can really feel the floor dancing because when anybody walks across here, instead of this joist transmitting the force over to the wall, and then that's that, you know, moves the force into the ground, I guess. The force is just kind of dancing across here and then bouncing. So that feels dangerous to me. People said, well, you just put a new beam in. Okay, we can put a beam in, but as we've already established, it gets wet down here. I don't want that to rot out. They said, oh, put it on concrete and put a beam in. I don't love concrete. I feel like it's brittle. So I decided to go the expensive route, which is this, there we go, Ellis Manufacturing Company. They call these a light-duty steel lifting shore. So these are a light-duty lifting shore. They're made for lifting, lifting stuff like this. So you can put them in basements, put them in cellars, put them in whatever. So this is the Ellis Manufacturing Company light-duty steel lifting shore. So these, I've already got one set up behind me, but I'm going to show you how to do it. These, they say you can use them for permanent installations, which a lot of shores are not permanent, they're temporary. It's steel, so I feel like it's going to last longer than wood would in moist conditions. You know, we're putting a sump in, so it's not going to sit in standing water, but there's still going to be moisture. They're adjustable, so if over time we get sagging, we can kind of shore them up a little bit. Really a lot of neat things about these. The top of this is just a flat plate, but you can take this pin out, remove this, and then there's U-shaped plates you can put on these. So that's pretty neat. Easy to install, but with one person. Boy, these things are really, really, really cool, and they're really, really, really not cheap. But I think it's worth it to not have a floor that I think over time might have some problems. I feel like that's really dangerous, having your floor collapse right in front of your stinking wood stove. I don't know, man. We don't want that to happen. So let me show you how these install. And you know, I'm not a professional, but just monkey see, monkey do. You can see what I'm doing. Tell me if I'm doing it wrong. And I'll tell you, I've already had these installed. I disinstalled this. I installed them last night and it worked perfect. So I disinstalled it just to show you how to do this. And it's simple. You don't need a video to see this, but whatever, you're already watching, so keep watching. I'll show you the little ins and outs. So here we go. Okay, so first we're going to position this guy. This floor is not completely level and straight, so this guy can dance a little bit, but I find that if we kind of let it find its level, I do get it pretty straight and plumb and level, and then we're going to run anchors into the concrete. I'm not going to show you that, that's boring, but let me just show you how these extend. So the first thing you do when you get these guys is you take your little Allen key, and there's a screw in here that you loosen up, and that enables you to spin this. So you can spin this from the top, and it just real slowly, I mean, it's smooth and slow, really slowly expands. But what you're supposed to do is spin this part, and it's got little holes in it. They'll sell you a piece of pipe to put in there. I'm just using my little ladyfoot. It's my ladyfoot crowbar once these things need to be tightened, but you can just turn this by hand, it's no big deal. So this part takes forever. So maybe we'll do a time warp, maybe we'll just get it all the way up to the top. What we're trying to do is get this up here. Actually, we're not going to do this here though. I'm going to move it one back for reasons, and I'll show you that. So what's nice about this is you can reposition it over and over and over. So I think that's handy. You know, if you have something that you anchor to the ground first or pre-cut your length of wood, you're stuck, man. You either got it or you don't. I had people tell me to use like little screw jacks that were in a piece of concrete, and that didn't seem like a good way to go either. I never really trust those cheap $5, you know, put it in a concrete shore block and twisted things. I don't trust those. And spend a couple $100 to keep your family safe, right? Okay, so my main concern here is these joists. These are floating. The couple that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 free floating joists. So we're going to support 2 of them with these jacks. I'm also going to support the cross here, this cross with the jacks. I didn't do it all the way at the end because this joist goes all the way over and it's supported. So I don't need that. I need support where they're floating, at least in my mind. Hey, if I'm wrong and you're a structural engineer, comment on this video, tell me how I'm wrong. What's cool about this is I can disassemble it and move it. So if I learn that I'm doing this the wrong way, I can fix it. So I want to just kind of center this. So I'm supporting this joist, but also supporting this guy, because this guy's kind of floating too. As you saw, it was just toenailed in over here, and there's a gap. I was gonna put a Simpson strong tie up in here to hold it, but behind it, there's another piece of wood that's coming down that blocks that. So I'm really between a rock and a hard place here. So that's why I think if we put in basically a column here, this will support the floating section. Again, I am not a professional. This is not advice for how you should do it at all. But I want to give the most support to the joist. I'm just going to try to center it under it. And I think we could have gotten away with one of these. Okay. I'm going to put the center of this pipe kind of right where everything meets, so everybody's getting supported equally. So here's what's so cool about these things. They got ball bearings in these guys. This is called a light duty jack. I did the math. This thing is meant to support like 6,000 pounds. I got 2 of them, so we're doing great. You can tighten this thing by hand. I've got it all squared up here. You can tighten it by hand, and it's doing all the work. It's doing just fine. You don't need, I don't think, to really shore these down unless you got a bunch of weight pushing down. I can tighten this by hand. What I'm listening for is, I can hear the floor moving. So it's pushing up just by me with like 1/2 inch of grip turning this. But I'm just gonna give it one little twist with this crowbar. And I hear the floor moving. I don't want to hear any cracks, but I want to hear it engaging. This thing's set. It's not going anywhere. Now in the future, maybe I'll just get one of the U's and hold this up, but I wanted support, again, this, which is floating, and this, which is floating. And I don't have it perfectly centered. So I can go back, lower this down. This will happen on old places. I mean, nothing's real square. So I can go through and re-level this thing. I kind of let it find its own level though. Otherwise you're gonna be cattywampus. Tighten it by hand, and I can hear the dog dancing around up there right now. And then, there we go. I heard the floor move from this end of the joist all the way down to the other end. I heard it, take just a little bit of weight off of the nails, because everything was just hanging on a couple nails here. So that's it. This is the Ellis Manufacturing steel shore. They say you can use these for permanent installation. You can put screws through here. I've got all the weight pushing down on this thing. I don't think I'm gonna need to do that. On the bottom, there are holes as well. I think we'll put some anchors through there to tie it to the concrete foundation. But I'll tell you, last night I had the dog running around, playing fetch, jumping around, over by the fireplace. Fireplace is right above us here, and nothing, no movement, nothing. It was the most secure feeling part of our floor. Amazing on an old house like this. So that's it. I think these are spectacular. After you get them in, you take your Allen key, put them in here, screw this guy in to tighten down your threads. Again, not a professional, but I don't know, man, you can bankrupt yourself real fast hiring a bunch of people to do stuff you can do yourself, and this ain't going anywhere. And if we ever need to pull it out, unscrew, loosen, tear it out. So I've got two supporting two of these floating joists. This one I will put a strong tie in to just tie it together. So I've got this guy supported that was kind of floating, just attached with a couple nails. So that's supported. I've got the floor joist supported. We're not getting any movement on that floor anymore. So these are awesome. They make them in different configurations, but I liked these the best because they're steel all the way down. So, all right. Hope you all are treating each other well out there, and we'll talk to you soon.